Today I'd like to show you how to use items you would recycle or throw away, but instead use them in your garden. First up, we're going to use toilet paper rolls. Simply take your roll and fold in half. Then fold in half again, then snip in about 1/2 inch up. Fold each flap inwards to create a base for the planter. Now is a good time to mark the outside of the rolls with the name of what you are going to be planting. Wet down your potting soil thoroughly, as this will assist with germination. Next, plant your seeds to the depth that they need to be planted and place on a shelf in a sunny location. Make sure to keep them watered and don't let them dry out. Here they are starting to sprout. Now they're really starting to grow, so it is time to transplant them in my garden. You can either remove from the toilet paper roll or plant them in the roll as the paper will disintegrate. Look at my pretty cosmos flowers starting to grow, and the sunflowers are also really taking off. They will look spectacular in the summer. Another option is to use a plastic container for holding cookies or salad as a mini greenhouse. Simply wet down your soil and fill up half the container and then plant your seeds. Close the lid and place in a sunny location. If you're going to be away and are worried about your plants not being watered, take the plastic bottle and drill a hole in the lid. Then snip off the end of the Q-tip and insert the Q-tip in the lid. Next, glue on 3 bamboo skewers evenly around the bottle. Fill the bottle with water and take it out to your planter. Then flip it over and insert it very close to your plant. My final project is perfect for any size planter. Heat the pin with the barbecue lighter and poke holes into the bottom of the bottle. Don't make too many holes or else it will drain too quickly. Then place the plastic container in the planter, plant with your favorite flowers, and put soil all around the container and the plant. Then fill with water and instant underground irrigation. Could it be any simpler?
I want to turn this spindle into something fun for the backyard. I'm going to paint it this beautiful blue. I'm going to do both sides of the spindle so that it's all one color, and I want to make sure to do the ends as well. I want to add some additional colors. I'm going to add some sage green around a few of the smaller round parts. I find using a little brush for these parts really helps. I'm going to cover the entire spindle now with this pearl glaze. Once it's dry, it's going to add the perfect amount of shine. I found this piece of dryer venting at the reuse store recently. I'm going to start by slicing it down the middle. I can do this with just a normal pair of scissors. Now that I've worked my way down the middle, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a section. With this end cut off, I want to flatten it out. It's actually quite easy to flatten out by just pushing it down until it lays flat. Now that I have all 4 sections cut, I want to turn them into wings. I'm going to make 2 different sizes, so we'll have 2 larger ones and 2 smaller ones when I'm done. To give the wings a little bit of color, I'm going to lightly brush on some blue paint to the ends. I'm also going to add some sage green to the middles, and then some cream paint to the tips of the wings. I'm just going to use some small nails and a hammer to hold all 4 wings in place. The final thing I need to do is attach a small head. I've gone ahead and painted a ball with the blue paint and pearl glaze, and I'm just going to use some glue to hold it in place. I love how fun this giant dragonfly is. It adds such a colorful touch to the fence and was so easy to make. I hope this has inspired you to make some giant friends for your backyard this summer as well.
Ever wonder what you can do with those extra eggshells in the trash can if you're not planning to compost them? So eggshells have a ton of calcium in them, so we're going to try to utilize that. And you're going to want to set your oven to a low temp, 250, 275, and then you're going to slide them in the oven and let them bake for 10 to 15 minutes. Once the eggshells are cool, break out your blender, and I went ahead and ground them down for about a minute. You want to create as fine powder as possible. So for garden applications, I love to use this ground eggshell powder around peppers and tomatoes, especially these plants that require a lot of calcium. And you want to apply it around what we call the drip line. And this is if your plant was to be rained on, where the water drips off the leaves onto the soil. And there you go. Store it on your potting bench until you're ready to use more later.
Hang on to those recyclable materials. Let's start with a plastic bottle. Grab a plastic bottle and a craft knife and slowly cut off the bottom part, the part with those fun ridges on it. I'm going to use 2 bottles for this project, so I've got the bottom of 2. Then, using a scissors, I am going to follow the natural ridges of the bottom of the bottle and just round the edges. I'm essentially making this look like a flower by cutting petals. Now I'm going to use 2 bottoms for this flower. And with one of them, I'm going to grab a small tea light and just hold that plastic near the flame. What it's going to do is slightly melt the petals, making them look like natural petals. It's going to shrink this particular bottom a little bit so that it fits inside the other one when we're done. The next step is to paint these. I'm going to turn them upside down and just paint the back. I'm going to use a dark pink on one and a light pink on the other. I'm also going to add some yellow dots to the center to make it look a little bit more like a flower. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to punch a hole in the larger bottle bottom because we're going to hang this up. Then I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach the 2 pieces together. Tie some string through that hole, and this makes a beautiful sun catcher in my window. Old book here that is kind of in rough shape. I'm going to tear out a few pages that have mostly just words on them. Now, using a scissors, you don't have to be too precise here. I'm going to cut out circles from each page. Now, they don't have to be perfect, they just generally have to be round. Now I'm going to cut a spiral shape into the circle. So just starting at the edge, I'm going to cut all the way around to the middle, leaving a small circle in the middle. Now to roll the flower. Start on the edge and just start rolling. That end can be a little tricky. You got to get it nice and tight, but then just roll it all the way to the middle. At the very end here, I've got this little circle left. I'm going to put a bit of glue on there and place the rolled part on top of the glue. This is going to secure it in place and hold it well. These are great for decorating a wreath, a picture frame, a sign. You could do so much with these, and they're really easy to make. I have these gorgeous magazines with beautiful nature pictures in them. We've looked through them all, we've read them all, so now I want to use them one more time. I'm going to tear out a number of pages that have a lot of color on them. Then I'm going to cut each page in half. I want these strips of magazine to be about the same size. It's about 4 inches here. I'm going to fold each strip in half the long way, and then using a scissor, I am cutting fringe in here. So I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm starting at the folded edge and cutting almost to the open edge. To assemble these flowers, I'm going to start with a little bit of glue on the very end, and then I'm just going to roll. The glue just helps hold it in together at the beginning. Roll all the way to the end and then glue the end piece in place. Now you could have a flower just like this, or you could add a couple more rolls to the outside to make a really large bloom. I am using these on the bottom of a chalkboard just to dress it up a little bit. There are 3 different methods for making flowers out of recyclable items. I hope this inspired you to save some of those items and make some flowers for your home. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.